All right. Welcome, everybody, to Lunch and Learn, hosted by the National Guard Bureau. And we're going to be talking with Uber today. Some great people are joining us from Uber. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who registered and is joining us today. I'm excited to be here because a Lunch and Learn is all about learning something new. And that's what we're going to do today is we're going to learn some new things about Uber. We have some great people here today, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves here in a couple of minutes. But basically, what I wanted to do is I want to just orient you to this virtual conference event. You will see the chat box on the side. Many of you have already participated in the chat box. Awesome. That's great. That is a great place for you to ask questions, make comments, all of that. And I do have a couple of people behind the scenes that are going to be watching the chat box and let me know when there are questions for our speakers today. So that's number one. Number two, after our speakers talk about some topics, we are going to offer some breakout rooms, and you can talk to some additional people from Uber about Uber opportunities, what life is like at Uber, and just get kind of a day in the life conversation with some of the people there at Uber. So I'm going to invite our participants to join those breakout rooms. You don't see them yet because I'm going to create them while our speakers are talking. So the wonderful world of technology. So I think that's all I have. The only other thing is if you are interested in knowing more about the great things that Brandon and Michael and other people are going to be talking about, the best place to do that is to connect with Uber on LinkedIn and reach out to them via LinkedIn. That way they can answer your questions more directly. They can provide the information that you're asking for. So, with that, I am going to introduce myself and then I'm going to turn the microphone over to our Uber people. My name is Melinda Rao, and I am a training and outreach specialist with Military Spouse Jobs and VetJobs. So, if you take any of our live job search tool training that we offer on Wednesdays, you are probably hearing my voice. That's why I sound familiar. Anyway, but I love doing live training. I've been a Marine Corps spouse for 31 years, and I'm excited to still be a part of this military community and helping our military affiliated job seekers. So thank you for joining us today. Now, I'm going to turn this over to our Uber people, and I'm going to turn my camera off. Okay, Michael, you're on.
Hey, Melinda, thank you so much from everybody at VetJobs, everybody at Mil Spouse Jobs. Uber is really, really excited to be here. And, before we get into the introductions, before we begin talking about our responsibilities and our teams, I just wanted to kind of let everybody know that's tuned in. It's going to be more than Brandon and hopefully Barry and myself up here once we get into the breakout rooms or we get into the table conversations. We've invited 6 additional military veterans or partner sourcers, which work within our talent acquisition teams. In other words, they're the ones that actually aggressively go out and find people to fill our positions. You're going to be able to speak with them as well. Okay. Each one of them has gone through the transition process. Each one of them has worked either at 1 or 2 different companies before landing at Uber. And really what I want all of you, really what my anticipated outcome from today isn't to just learn a little bit more about the positions that we're hiring for. I want you to be more familiar with the process, right? Understanding what it is that Brandon and Ray and Justin and Mike and all the other folks that you're going to be speaking with today, understand what they go through each day. So that way you familiarize yourselves with the recruitment process as a whole. Okay, so that's what I hope can come out of today's conversation. So with that said, I'm going to quickly introduce myself and then kick it over to Brandon. And then if Barron's able to join, I know he's experiencing a couple of different, some technical difficulties, but at the very least, we'll be able to introduce ourselves. And then I'm going to share a little bit more about the MVP program, what it entails. And then after that, we'll kick it back over to Melinda or to Danette or to Stacy to get us launched into our breakout sessions, where I'm confident you'll be getting more meat. And by meat, more understanding of how to apply, what it entails, qualifications, anything you want to know, we're prepared to answer. Okay? So, quick introduction on myself before I kick it over to Brandon. I am a retired disabled veteran of the United States Army. I spent 21 and a half years in service, all on the enlisted side. 15 of those years were active duty. The rest was in the National Guard. And it was really during my time in the National Guard where I was able to kind of start my civilian journey, civilian career in corporate America. Um, and I'll dive deeper into how that worked. But let me tell you, first things first is my transition journey was not what one would define as successful. It was very challenging, very, very challenging. I'm going to try and refrain from the profanity because we just started our call, but let's put it this way, y'all. It was not easy. But that said, I found my way, as you all will find your way. The first career started out at a company called Accenture, a very large global consulting firm, where I started out as a contractor. Okay, I left active duty to become a contractor to really understand sourcing within large scale corporations. Fortunately for me, I was able to join the military team that was being stood up at the time. After being there for 6 months, I got converted to a full-time employee. And then 6 months after that, I took over the team. Was with the company Accenture for about 5.5, 6 years. Had a great run. It's a great company. But that's when Uber came calling and asked if I would build out a global military veteran and partner hiring program. And I've been with them ever since. I've been here for 3 years now, and I'm Chicago based. I see that John Thurmond is on the call as well. He's one of our participants. So for any Chicago area veterans, I got to give a plug out to John Thurmond and his team. Please reach out to him. So that's a quick little background on me before we dive deeper into Uber's military veteran and partner hiring program. So I want to kick it over to Brandon. Brandon, if you wouldn't mind coming off mute and giving a quick introduction on yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. First off, thanks for having me. Thanks for everybody tuning in. A little bit about myself. I'm a 13-year Navy veteran. Spent the first 7 years working on the flight deck of aircraft carriers. Had the opportunity to travel around the world, deploy a few places. Really enjoyed it. And then had the opportunity to convert into the recruiting side of the Navy. So I did that for 6 years in Houston, Texas, and then the Southwest Florida area. Decided to separate from the Navy in June 2020. Similar to Michael, transition was not what I expected it to be. Granted, probably didn't choose the best time to get out, right in the middle of COVID, but I was fortunate enough to find my new career pretty quickly. Worked at a startup here in the DFW area, helping to grow their sales and operations teams. Really enjoyed it. Got the chance to be really hands-on, work with a lot of different organizations within the company, try different roles, experiment a lot, really kind of learn my craft. And then about a year and a half ago, I was fortunate enough to link up with Baron and Michael and had the opportunity to join this team here at Uber. And really, I mean, I can't say enough good things about my experience here, the opportunity we've had to work with our community and grow the community here at Uber. It's really, really rewarding work, and really can't picture doing anything else.
So glad you shared that, Brandon. And no BS. Obviously, we're so grateful that you and Baron and all of our MVP sourcers and recruiters are here. And we're not paying you to say that stuff. I'm pretty confident that that's a genuine statement from Brandon. And most recently, Brandon's wife just accepted a role here at Uber. So, which we're really pumped about. Now, the cool thing is you're going to have the ability to speak with all of our different MVP sourcers and recruiters when we get to the breakout sessions. Some are working on similar roles, but you're going to see tech positions and non-tech positions, okay? And we get into the breakout rooms. Obviously, I want you to introduce yourselves, share a quick synopsis around your background, okay? But please know that we're veterans as well, or military partners, meaning we come from the community, all right? Some of us have served, like I said, over 20 plus years. Some have served over 10, varying levels of service. But at the end of the day, we know what you do, okay? Whether it be an AFSC, an MOS, or a branch, okay? Now, for our Uber participants that have joined, okay, I just want you all to know, I see the chat thread kind of coming up here, and some of y'all are curious as to what's going to happen. Y'all are participants for now. When we get pushed into the breakout sessions, you will have the ability to come off and speak. Okay, so for Mike Chavez, Barron, that there's a possibility there might be a technical issue. Don't worry, when we get to the breakout sessions, you'll be able to participate completely. Okay, so let's talk about the MVP program. Okay, the MVP program, if you haven't caught on, stands for Military, Veteran, and Partner. Now at Uber, we recognize that we want to change the internal composition of our workforce. Okay, we also recognize that the Armed Forces is the most diverse entity in the United States. Now the MVP program isn't only US based. It's a global program that works with every military in every country where Uber has a footprint, as long as it's a NATO ally, okay? That was one of my first things that I wanted to implement when taking on this position. Now, it is more than just bringing on veterans who've worked in recruitment or veterans in general and then plugging them into these positions. There's a lot of training and a lot of education that has to go in to hiring folks from our community, okay? Civilians don't necessarily understand our backgrounds, okay? So that being said, the second thing that I had to build out was training for our talent acquisition force, but also for our hiring managers. So that way they could understand what our backgrounds are, what profiles we possess, what skills and competencies. So that way when they see our profiles or our resumes, they have a good understanding as to how to read them, okay? That's the training side. The onboarding and integration piece, that stems from experiences that myself, Brandon, Barron, and some of the other MVPs that you're going to connect with have gone through. As I shared earlier, my transition was terrible. After 2 weeks of separating from active duty, I'd begun looking for active duty recruiter phone numbers and started calling them up, trying to see if there's a way that I could get back into service. I know, right? Kind of weird. It's like, oh my gosh, you got this job in corporate America and you're already looking for your way to kind of put the uniform on. Well, here's some of the reasons why I was trying to do that. One, I didn't speak the language. Okay. There was acronyms that I knew in the military that were uniquely different on the civilian side. Okay. Secondly, I was a non-commissioned officer and I was a senior non-commissioned officer. Okay. I was used to things being done a certain way in a timely manner. Following a specific standard operating procedure. That is not the way corporate America worked, okay? So I was having a really, really, really difficult time integrating. But then a light bulb went off. And I knew that if it was happening to me, then it was going to happen to others. And I began documenting this, okay? And that's turned into a 60-page comprehensive onboarding guide that all of our MVP newbers get when they join Uber, okay? It allows them to, basically dive deep into our policies, right? If you're in the Guard or Reserves, right, and you need to go out to training, AT, you need to go put on orders. How do you do that? You can refer to the guide. If there's acronyms that the company uses that are different than the ones I used in the military, what are those? Okay, I refer to the guide. If I want to have a conversation with my new people leader or my manager about my experience, how would I go about doing that? I refer to the guide. Okay. So that's why that guide was put together. But that's not the standalone resource that you get. You also have ERGs. Now, that term might sound familiar, right? Because you're familiar with family readiness groups. Well, on the corporate side, we have what's known as employee resource groups, okay? And they've got in work in a similar function to your FRGs, okay? They're there to help you network. They're there to help you feel a sense of community, a sense of family, a sense of belonging, okay? They're there to also provide you with up-to-date, business news, goings on, challenges, obstacles, anything new or relevant. So it keeps you informed about how the company is performing and then anything else that you might want to do. Okay. Does not stop there. All right. Beginning with the application process, right? If you identify yourself as a military veteran or partner during the time of application, you're going to get connected with folks like Brandon and Barron and Justin and everybody else that you're going to get to meet. All right. But they'll have an option for you to meet an ERG ambassador. Basically, that's somebody from a community to which you identify with, to where you'll be able to go in during the interview process and ask him or her, they or them, candid conversations or candid questions about their experiences. Well, today, you're going to have that opportunity to do that live. And when we get into those breakout sessions, you'll have the opportunity to participate and speak to people that have gone through the process. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to do, all right, before I kick it over to Brandon for any last minute updates or news or anything he wants to share, is that we're Uber. Okay. Now, I'm sure a lot of you, when you either agreed to sign in for this call or had been reached out by Stacy, Melinda, Danette, right? Hey, listen to Uber's Lunch and Learn. A lot of you were probably like, what the heck would I want to listen to Uber for? I don't want to drive, or I'm already driving for them, or I don't want to deliver food. Why would I need to learn what Uber's doing within the MVP space? Well, it's a common misconception, okay? Uber does more than just hire drivers or earners, okay? And in fact, those aren't any of the roles that we're going to be talking about today. Those folks are the heartbeat of our business. They are. But the roles that Barron, Brandon, myself, and everybody else is going to be talking about today are our corporate opportunities, our software engineering roles, our project management positions, sales positions, ops, security, things like that. Okay. Now, you're going to see more than us, for your lunch and learns. But what I challenge each of you is, when you hear of a certain company, don't just think that, oh gosh, it's driving. I know what they do. I have the app. I don't want to drive. All right. I want you to think more creatively, think more outside the box, right? Because when you think of McDonald's, not everybody that works there flips burgers. And then to my Air Force colleagues, to my Navy colleagues, right? Not everybody that joins the Air Force flies planes. Not everybody that joins in the Navy is going to be behind the wheel of a ship. Okay. So think about it a little bit more holistically. And I think you're going to be very, very surprised about the amazing opportunities and the type of work we do here at Uber. So that said, Brandon, over to you real quick. Any updates? Did I miss anything? Is there anything you think that this team would benefit from hearing?
No, I think you covered everything. Just excited to get in the breakout rooms and get to see everybody and dig a little deeper.
Okay, great. So with that said, thank you for that. Melinda, I'm going to kick it back over to you so you can bring us in. What I'd suggest is, because it's 12:20 Central Time now, let's get into the breakout rooms for about 25 minutes, if possible. And then with that last 5, we can come out, close it out, answer any questions that maybe the rest of the team might benefit from hearing in the large format. And then we'll get rocking and rolling.
Sounds like a great plan. The other thing I want you to close us out with later on is what is going to happen with Uber in 2023.
Oh.
So save that in the back of your mind as something to share with all of us when we come back. I'm going to open the breakout rooms here in a couple of minutes. I do want you to note that I have actually named all of the breakout rooms. We have 9 different breakout rooms, and people can move between the breakout rooms. You're not stuck in one room. And we've had several people that Uber sent to me that are going to share in these rooms. I've actually put your name on the breakout room that you are going to be talking in. And again, you can move among the breakout rooms as participants. So just give me 1 second, technology, and we'll get these breakout rooms open and ready to go.
Okay. Hey there.
Hello. So, how did the discussions go?
They're going great. They were
Great.
going great. I was in the middle of answering a question, but we'll address that. No, don't sweat it. We'll address that to the larger community. So it's all
Okay,
okay. Yeah.
great.
Um, just I think folks on my team had some issues getting dialed in and getting connected, but I think they're just less familiar with their meet, um,
Yeah.
or they're just technologically impaired. Uh, you know, don't sweat it.
We're not going to go there with that.
No.
So, I was watching the breakout rooms and it looked like there were some people moving between the breakout rooms and we're enjoying the discussion. I think one of the reasons I was so excited to be a part of this Lunch and Learn is when I met you at the recent MSEP partner meeting. It was just very interesting to hear your perspective. And for once, there was somebody who was incredibly honest about the real world out there. And with our recent transition, my husband recently transitioned from the Marine
Mhm.
Corps after 31 years. And I reminded him it's going to take longer than 2 weeks to get a job.
Yep.
And not every resume is going to get you an interview.
Yep.
And I think there was a little bit of a struggle there. Now he's kind of found his feet a little bit. But I think that honesty from you and from you, Brandon, about your transition journey, I think is incredibly important to realistically prepare our candidates for what that transition is going to look like, whether it's been 4 years or it's been a 20 to 30-year career. Be realistic about that. And then sharing just the wealth of opportunities that are out there. And so that leads me to you talking a little bit about what does 2023 look like for
Yep.
Uber? What's going to be happening for you guys?
Yep. Happy to share that. If you think, are we in the main session right now where everybody's in here? Okay, perfect. So a couple things that I want to address first. Melinda, you brought up a great point. One about how each transition journey is uniquely different, person to person. And that includes our military spouses. Okay. Now listen, y'all. You've heard that, especially from our Army folks, the NCOs are the backbone of the Army. The military partner is the backbone of the armed forces community. Okay. And if you don't view them or regard them as such, well, then maybe you need to have a conversation with a military partner because I'm sure they'll set you straight. Okay. From the amount of work that they do. So that being said, each military, veteran, and partner is regarded in the same light, will have the same opportunities, right? It always comes down to timing, availability, and then, of course, your respective background. Now, each veteran and partner that has joined this call or that works at Uber will help you set expectations as you begin your career search. This is a team approach because let me tell you right now, Brandon will shake his head. I guarantee you, you can't do this alone. I know that the military has instilled a lot of values in both our veterans and our mil spouses, giving you a lot of can do, whatnot, all that good stuff. But you really need somebody on the inside of these organizations to work with to make sure you get your resume seen or corrected, apply to the right roles, go back to the drawing board, or help you get across the finish line. Okay. So, Melinda, you asked a fantastic question. What does 2023 look like for Uber? Well, listen, folks, I'm sure that you can breathe a sigh of relief with what I'm about to say. We're not expected to go into a hiring freeze. We are not expected to lay off anybody. Okay. What we did last year is help us set ourselves up for success in 2023. All right. As I shared in my breakout room, there's no stinking way I'm going to know all of our roles and opportunities on our careers page because at any given time, you're going to anywhere from 1,000 to 2,400 open roles. Okay. If you look on our careers page today, you might only see somewhere in the neighborhood of 700 ish. Okay. That's because we took a lot of our roles off that were not generating revenue for us in 2022. Okay. That doesn't mean we're laying people off or, going into some sort of bunker stage and where we're going to kind of brace for impact. What that allowed us to do is think smartly about our approach into 2023, where we're going to be hiring a ton of software engineers. We're going to be hiring a lot of different roles within tech and non-tech. So your Amazons of the world, your Metas, your Intuits, your NetApps, okay, your Disneys, unfortunately, okay, and some other big companies, they will be going through rounds of layoffs, and that's unfortunate. Okay, my heart goes out to them, especially this time of year, because we don't want to see that happening. But that said, that's why we've shared our LinkedIn information with you. We want to have a 30-minute call with y'all. Okay. So I implore you to reach out to us. Okay. Whether you're interested in tech or non tech, reach out to the corresponding source or a recruiter to have a 30-minute conversation about what it's like here at Uber. You could talk to us anything about, does your resume look well enough for you to hit that apply button? Are you interview ready? Okay. Do you need special accommodations? Okay. As I identified earlier, I'm a disabled veteran. Okay. There are times where I can't sit longer than 45 minutes before I have to get up and walk around, or I might need a stand up desk, right? Some folks require service animals. Come and learn more about what we've done to make sure that we are military ready, not just military friendly. Anybody can be military friendly. Say you're hiring veterans. That's cute. Okay. But what are you doing to prepare for the military veteran and partner community once you get here? That's what makes a company mill ready. So put a bow on it. In 2023, we are poised, just as we were poised in 2022, to prepare for y'all. Okay. We're going to have realistic conversations. We're going to help set expectations. And at the end of the day, it may not be a happy union, happy marriage, but we have a very robust network externally to where we could possibly facilitate introductions elsewhere. Okay. Because that's what it's all about. It's about giving back and helping the community. Even if it isn't hiring you here, we'll be able to help you elsewhere. Okay. Does that answer the question, Melinda?
Absolutely. And I also think that it may have given some great information to our participants. I did let our participants know, because we've had some people that maybe they can't quite see the main stage and they're not hearing this information. I will email that LinkedIn URL out to our participant list, so they'll be able to connect directly up with you, your folks out at LinkedIn, and have those conversations and get those questions answered. Because I think that is something that many of our people are concerned about is, what does the world look like for us in 2023? It actually looks a little scary for a lot of our candidates. So I think that's going to be a great reassurance for them. So I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat box. So here's your chance for any saved rounds.
Yeah. So a couple of things I want to kind of add, right, is listen, I'm not BSing y'all when I said I had a terrible transition. Brandon shared that his was less than stellar, as well as I'm sure some of the other MVP folks that were in the breakout rooms. We've been through it, but we made it on the other side, and we are here to help you. So please, when you come to us and you've got questions, just know that, like I said, we've been in your shoes before. Okay. So we've eaten giant pie after pie after pie of humility, right? Oh, that sweet taste of humble pie. We've had it. Okay. Yeah. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. We've had it. So we can give you some things to be on the lookout for. All right. So when we offer our advice, okay, when we offer our counsel, know that it's coming from a place, a very genuine place. Okay. Because once again, we've walked in those shoes before. But at the end of the day, like I said, for those tuning in or tune in at a later time, feel free to reach out to us. We're not going anywhere. We're here to help. Things might slow down a little bit due to the holidays that are coming up. But at the end of the day, 2023 is right around the corner. So if the role that you're looking for is not on our careers page right now, take a gander back when it comes to 2023. It might be up there then. Okay. So Melinda, I know this is our second time meeting virtual, but third time meeting in total. I just want to thank you and Danette and Stacy and everyone on your team that it took to put this together. We hope folks found tremendous value in it, and we'd be honored to come back at any time, especially as we get geared towards specific apprenticeships that will be opening up. Because as I've uttered on before, no, Josh, not all sales positions are remote. Okay. Um, Once again, reach out to us. We'll connect with you, and we'll be able to answer those questions. But Melinda, on the way out, anytime you need us, we are here. We are from the community. We are here to help the community. So thank
Perfect.
you so much.
And I think that's a great way to close things out. I do want to remind our participants that we did record this. So this event will be available to view at a later date on our YouTube channel. And we'll send that link out through our social media so you'll be able to access that recording at a later time. So the breakout sessions were not recorded, but all of the other information was recorded. Thank you again, Michael, your entire team. I was so happy to have this time with you. Thank you so much for your time today, and peace out. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy New Year. Go wrap presents. I got to finish wrapping presents. So have a great week, and thank you again, everybody.
Thanks all. Take care.
Thank you, guys.